Thank you and very good morning to everyone, all the distinguished invitees. It's my pleasure to be present here in the midst of a very knowledgeable audience. So theme for this morning session is the impact of technology on government sector. So let me talk about this broader theme and how the entire public sector, including the government, has been transformed using technology in the last decade and especially in the last few years. I will also mention about how this entire transformation is happening and where it is going to take us in the years to come. I'll also talk about what we are currently doing to transform the social insurance sector, which currently I'm heading. So all of you have seen the grand success of G20 in this entire series of events over the last several months. Regarding technology, there was one term that was talked about very often. Can anyone tell what it was? Pardon? Personal protection. Data. Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Okay. That's the larger theme of G20. But in the domain of technology, there were a couple of terms which were very widely talked about in the media and covered widely. Is anyone? Pardon? AI. Okay. Okay, good. Any other response? Cloud, okay. Transactions, okay. Data security, good. Then?
Capacity building.
UPI, okay. Health with wealth, yes, okay, good. So all these were talked about. But I think we are missing the biggest term which actually, in which we have become a leader or become, pardon? Digital infrastructure, yes, okay. So that is close to what I was having in mind. So you must have read about DPI, Digital Public Infrastructure. And this also figured in the declaration, and there was a special group on digital economy, etc. So this entire transformation that we are seeing in India today, especially in the government sector and with the interface that government has with citizens, businesses, and the way our digital economy is being driven is as a result of the massive leaps that we have made in creating world-class digital public infrastructure on which our digital public goods are riding. So what does it consist of? DPI is the term that I had in mind, and that was talked about widely in the media and covered extensively. So what does it consist of, DPI? Anyone? Any guesses? Data centers, okay. Good. Aadhaar, yes. Correct, yes. Then, what are the other elements? UPI, yes. Pardon? Digital wallets, yes, okay. Direct beneficiaries, okay. Okay, so let me just lay out a few. I think I will use only those terms with which you might be familiar, because those are widely covered in the media and we read about those terms quite often. So we all know about Aadhaar. Aadhaar is the backbone of the entire digital ID infrastructure in India. So Aadhaar is a key element of this digital public infrastructure. Also we have the unified payments interface, somebody mentioned, UPI, which actually has allowed a seamless payment system, ecosystem, across all banks and across all bank account holders. And today, riding on this platform has become so easy and so convenient that everyone wants to use UPI. The transactions have been growing by leaps and bounds, month over month, both in terms of volume and in terms of value. Then what else? We also, have you heard about DigiLocker? I think many of you might have used also. And now more and more departments, more and more partners, even from private sector, they are coming on the DigiLocker platform to really offer one common cloud-based space to the citizens to be able to access all the documents, both government issued as well as private sector providers, what they issue. So now today, all the 10th class mark sheets, 12th class mark sheets, all degree certificates, all your details about government issued documents, driving license, etc., all can be aggregated into one common DigiLocker for every citizen. And it's all free. Those who are not using it, please open account immediately. It's Aadhaar-based opening, and some other methods also are there. So it's so easy to really get all the documents into one place. And the best thing is, from DigiLocker, you can share these documents in the official way to any department for obtaining any service. And that's a authenticated sharing of this document. So you don't need to submit any paper document after you share through your DigiLocker wallet. Okay. There is also a new platform, a relatively new platform called Meri Pehchan, which also I think some of you might have seen. It was launched last year by the Honorable Prime Minister as a part of the Digital India celebrations. This brings together all the authentication platforms that the government has into one place. So it's a national single sign-on platform, to just put it in a very brief form. So you might have heard of single sign-on. Earlier we had multiple systems to really access different websites, multiple gateways or multiple authentication systems. All those have been brought under one platform called NSSO or Meri Pehchan. So as the name implies, you can, just by having one set of credentials, you can access now thousands of websites, thousands of portals from various government agencies, both at central and state levels. So these are some of the examples of the DPI that was widely talked about and in which we have achieved success on a massive scale, at a scale of the entire population. And I can tell you that worldwide, nothing beats this kind of ecosystem. We are the world leaders. And all this has happened in the last decade or so, and more so in the last few years, maybe last 5 years, as a result of the massive strides that we have taken to really simplify technology for everyone, and to ensure that the vision of technology-enabled governance is there for all government departments, both at central state levels, and for all citizens, so that they can access seamlessly all the services. So how do we take this entire vision forward? And how do we ensure that we continue on this path of leadership, global leadership, in the years to come? So there are some key elements of this entire strategy or vision, which I would just briefly mention. Then I will talk about my current role, where I am leading the social insurance sector, including health insurance for our insured persons, and how we are transforming that interface as well. So the first element of this strategy, which I mentioned going forward, would be to really expand the digital infra even more, so that we can connect all citizens. Though we have expanded access to digital infrastructure across the entire country, but still we have not covered everyone. We have not yet reached 100% in terms of connectivity. So that's, I think, one of the key tasks that is there before us, where we would really like to ensure that every one of us is connected to this massive national digital infrastructure, including cloud infra for everyone. The second element of this vision is to move from e-governance to digital governance. Again, I will briefly explain why this is important to understand. So far, if you really see, the efforts in the past have been to digitize different domains of the government in silos. They're mostly working within their own domain, developing applications for the citizens and businesses to use on the in the online format. And because of this siloed development, there was very little interoperability and exchange of data or sharing of data or processes. That needs to change. And a lot of work is going on in this direction as well, where the concept now, the vision now, is to make systems interoperable so that the efforts required to go live, that is minimized. One of the key benefits of such a massive DPI in India has been to allow the government departments and even the private sector to really cut short the time required to go live, because you don't need to really develop your systems, for example, for authentication anymore. You can just use the Aadhaar-based infrastructure. You don't need to develop a separate payment mechanism. You can just use UPI and so forth. So that's the impact that these DPIs have on the entire digital ecosystem. So the next logical move would be to move from the siloed e-governance kind of approach in the past to a complete interconnected digital governance, where all government departments are connected at the back end and to whatever extent possible in terms of the other features of the digital ecosystem, so that the citizens can have a seamless experience as they obtain services from one department or many departments. Right now, for citizens, it is all separate boxes. You go to one department's portal, you work, you apply for a service there, then you come out, again go to another department's portal, again provide same information, again do similar things to obtain a service. Now all that can easily be interconnected, and the need for citizens to really provide information multiple times, that can be easily obviated. That's the next step to move from e-government, digital government. The third element of this strategy is to really grow our digital economy to the level of $1 trillion in the next 4 to 5 years. And how that can happen, as you already would be knowing, digital economy is a key driver of the larger economy today in India. And a large part of the growth that we are seeing in the overall economy, the main driver for that growth is coming from the digital part of the economy, or digital-driven part of the economy. This momentum has to continue, and from the current level of about $300 billion US, that is the size of the digital economy today, it has to rise to at least 1 trillion in the next 4 to 5 years. And that's the third element of this vision that we all need to have to ensure that we can achieve truly the transformative impact of the digital technologies. The fourth element of this entire strategy would be to focus on futuristic technologies. Somebody mentioned about AI. There are a number of other technologies which we all know. And we all know how ChatGPT has transformed the entire discussion about AI and how it is going to impact different facets of our lives and businesses. What is the full form of ChatGPT? Anyone? GPT? What is the full form? Generative pre-trained transformer. Good. So as the name suggests, these are very large language processing models where the idea is to provide responses in the form of a conversational format. So chat, so when you type in a question, it gives you answer in easily understandable text. And this is rapidly evolving. There are many players coming now. There is a lot of competition, including many very significant startups in India who are doing a lot of significant work. So this is going to be a transformative impact again on the entire digital ecosystem in the time to come. We also have other technologies which are also equally causing impact, driving transformation. For example, blockchain is there. Then we have quantum technologies. So there are a lot of developments going on in futuristic technology which are going to impact how the entire economy driven by these technologies is going to evolve in the time to come. The fifth element of this strategy, which I'm just trying to explain, is to focus on skilling. Now that's one area where we need really massive efforts, because the way we are seeing this tech sector grow, the demand for skilled talent in future is going to grow even bigger. And even though after the pandemic there has been some kind of a stable level of demand in the tech sector, but that is going to come back at some point, and we are going to again get back to a medium to high growth path in the tech sector. And that's going to drive the demand for skilling to a much higher level compared to what we are seeing now. And that's one area where both government and private sector, they need to come together to ensure that we can meet the rising demand for talent, not only in India, but also worldwide. India should become the talent capital of the world in terms of supplying skilled talent to the technology sector. The last element, which is perhaps one of the key focus areas of the entire event today, which is very important for us to understand, is to modernize our laws, including the more than 2 decades old IT Act, the process which is currently ongoing, as you might have read in the papers. Also, implement the new Digital Personal Data Protection Act in all its manifestations, so that the data protection as a key concept or as a key activity that becomes ingrained in the entire ecosystem, including the government departments who are handling massive amounts of data, especially personal data of citizens, and also all the private sector entities who are also equally responsible for ensuring that the entire data protection is taken to its logical next step of instituting systems now, so that our personal data is protected within the legal framework. Already the last several years, a lot of work has gone on in this direction, and now we have a law which is already on the statute books, which we are really hopeful that it will serve the needs of the country at this juncture to ensure meaningful data protection for our citizens. We also need to modernize the IT Act, which is of 2000 vintage. That process is also undergoing, is being taken up now. And with that, also focus should come back on cyber resilience and cyber security. That should become another key focus area for all of us in the time to come, because that's another area where we are seeing massive challenges which are emerging on a daily basis. We have seen this happening in government, and the entire IT industry, all the domains, in fact, in the private sector, they need to understand the challenges of this rapidly evolving cybersecurity landscape. Whatever measures we adopt, the sources from where these challenges are emerging, they always try to get one step ahead of us. So we need to be constantly on alert to really meet the challenges in the cybersecurity domain. And that's a major area where we all need to focus. So with this broad framework for ensuring how we can really meaningfully absorb or meaningfully address the impacts that technology has on the public sector, including the government's interface with citizens and businesses, and how we can really make it more meaningful in the time to come. Now let me talk about the social insurance sector, which I am currently heading, and which is again a massive area where we need to really transform the interface with our insured persons. So ESI Corporation, as some of you may be aware, is a social insurance organization where we insure the workers in the organized sector. We currently cover about 3.1 crore workers and about 12 crore total beneficiaries, including the families of the insured persons. And we provide them with medical benefits, medical insurance, health insurance, and social insurance, which is sickness benefits, then disablement benefits, maternity benefits, accidental insurance, etc. And all this is being done through our own institutions. So we have a massive network of dispensaries, hospitals all across the country. We have a massive network of our offices where we provide them with cash benefits for sickness, etc. And this entire interface that we have with our 12 crore plus beneficiaries, that we are trying to transform through digital technologies. So we have now an interface, an application which we call Dhanvantri, which we have implemented for last several years, which is now getting transformed, through which we have provided a completely seamless interface to all our insured persons so that they can obtain the medical benefits and all the cash benefits seamlessly. Recently, we launched mobile apps for both the insured persons and our doctors in the hospitals so that the entire healthcare delivery can also be really digitized. And we have access to real-time data on how the benefits are being delivered, including our health care services. This is a massive work that we have undertaken. We now have real-time dashboards for all our services, for both medical and cash benefits, where we can see at each location where we are present, we have more than 1,600 touch points across the entire country in terms of our presence in the form of a hospital or in the form of a branch office where we provide services, or we provide a center for interaction with the insured persons and with the employers, with the industry. I think many of your organization may also be contributing to ESIC in the form of the benefits for the workers. So our work has been to interact with all the employers, the entire industry, who are our primary stakeholders, and also work with the technology ecosystem to really understand how we can transform this entire massive ecosystem through digital technologies. And I'm happy to say that in the last about 6 months or so, we have achieved great success. We now have a seamless interface for all our insured persons whereby they can access any of our services in a completely digital format, except for actual delivery of medical care where they need to go to a hospital. Even that also we have transformed through a telemedicine platform. So persons who are at home or who cannot travel to a dispensary or a hospital, sitting at home, they can use the eSanjeevani platform and they can consult with a doctor. The doctor can create a prescription and we deliver the drugs, the medicines, through a home delivery system on the next day. This is what we have implemented in all our cities and in the tier 2, tier 3 towns where this is not yet there, that we are trying to implement in the next phase. So already this process is on through a technology-driven platform where entire process is seamless for the patient. So sitting at home, you can consult with a doctor. Doctor can prescribe you medicines, and our dispensaries deliver them at the home on the next day. We also have launched home sample collection for investigations for the cases which do not require to be brought to the hospital. This also has been implemented in the last, from March this year onwards, in all our major locations. And this entire interface that I just talked about is getting transformed through digital technologies at a very rapid pace. And we hope to have a totally seamless interface for all our IPs across the entire country in the next few months. So this is the work that currently we are doing, again, using technology, and which I am sure will really help the organization, ESIC, which I am currently heading, to improve these services by leaps and bounds to all the IPs. So I think, let me conclude at this point of time by wishing all the very best to the deliberations that lie ahead during the day. I am sure they will be very helpful to everyone to understand the entire landscape of technology and how it is transforming both the government and the private sector. So thank you very much for calling here. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.